All right, you guys, we're really excited to come live today and talk with you about the inner circle. So excited. I have you pulled up on my phone as well. So if you guys have questions along the way, please just pop them in the comments and I will see them. And feel free to share this live video to your page as well to get as many admin and real estate agents to see it as possible. So my name is Margaret Smith and I'm the CEO of a company called I Love It When, and I'm here with Kathleen Metcalf. And Kathleen, I'm going to let you introduce yourself first.
So I'm Kathleen Metcalf. I'm the CEO of Inspired for Results, and my coaching company is Kathleen Metcalf Coaching and Training. And I run a coaching and training company for real estate admins and their agents.
And Kathleen and I met about 2 years ago now, I think. Yeah, randomly, I guess it would be through serendipity, really, through an email that I got from Vanessa Rosenblum. With Pro REA Staffing. And so we have, over the last 2 years, gotten to know each other and really found that we have, hey, Anna Lovick, we've found that we have a lot of the same passions, and that is supporting and empowering admin in the real estate industry. And so we've come together to create this admin membership, and we're really excited. So today we wanted to give you guys an opportunity to tune in, ask questions, and then also hear from 4 admin that Kathleen has worked with over the years, and just their insights and ideas about what it's like to work with Kathleen and what it would be like to be in the membership with us. So we have our first guest joining us in about 10 minutes. So before that, we thought we'd give you a little bit of a tour of the inner circle if you guys haven't seen any information or taken the time to check it out.
Excellent.
So let me pull up my...
While you're queuing that up, I'll just do a little backstory.
Do it.
So I, like Margaret, have been in the field, right? I was a real estate admin and then I was a real estate agent in San Francisco. And 13 years ago, I moved from San Francisco to Vermont, where you can see my birch trees, where I serendipitously got to work for a real estate coach for 6 years. So I listened to all these agents being coached about how to reach their goals, about how to hit their production goals. And the ceiling that kept being hit was, how do you hire your admin, your next admin, get them trained, get your operations running. And because of my background in recruiting and training in retail before I was in real estate, and my work in the field, like what Margaret did with Pickett Street Properties, I thought there just must be a solution. So hiring and training admin has now become my mission. And now I've been coaching in my own business for 9 years. So there's all this market research of all these issues. And Margaret, in her work in teaching classes and being out around the country and leading her Pacific Northwest retreats, we've collected all this data of these pain points of where businesses are stuck to move forward, where admin are in a tight spot to be able to go forward in their lives and in their careers. And so it's from that research that we have designed BU, the Inner Circle.
I want you to keep talking through this. So I'm going to share my screen, but I want you to, you're doing such a good job of sharing. Let me see here. If I can just do the website. Okay. So yeah, if any of you have not checked it out, you can just go to iloveitwhen.org and you'll see the little orange strip at the top that you can click on. It'll take you right to that page.
So it shows in here, Margaret's done a beautiful job, that this is a global personal and professional development membership for admin in the real estate industry, because we also have seen that admin all over the country in North America, virtual assistants from other countries, and people who work with us full time live in other countries. So having this open to everyone around the world was a decision that we made to be of greatest service. So to increase confidence, growth, courage, and increase self-worth, which is then a part of the leadership skills. If this speaks to you, you're in the right place. This is why we designed an annual membership of BU, the Inner Circle, because we heard these desires and we heard these pain points. And the solution to the pain points is being able to have experiences and to be able to have community so that you can create breakthrough. And this is something that agents have had for years.
Mhm.
This is where they have gotten into one-on-one coaching. They have gone to conferences, retreats,
Yes.
Tony Robbins. They have walked on fire and coals and jumped out of airplanes and done all of these things that create breakthrough and discipline in their lives. And now we need another forum for admin that is not just tactical.
Mhm.
There's lots of support for tactical tools, calendars, software, but this is the missing piece that creates breakthrough into greater ownership, the ability to take initiative, the ability to take the ball and run with it, because that requires self-confidence, the
Mhm.
ability to take risks, and a knowing of self-worth, so
Mhm.
that you are an equal in your own right on the team.
Yes, absolutely. So then we get down to which Kathleen started. Oh, hi, David Bruckheimer. Kathleen started just talking about right there, which is the benefits of joining the inner circle. And so we wanted to be very intentional. I mean, Kathleen and I are always very intentional, basically, in everything that we do in our lives. But with the benefits of the inner circle, I really wanted to help create a group that I was going to intentionally invest my time, energy, resources, and experience in. And so you'll get direct access to both Kathleen and I at a fraction of the cost of what it usually is to hire us as coaches. You'll have access to a private Facebook group that will be guided and led with intention and purpose. And so there are some like varieties of Facebook groups around what admin do on Facebook, which are awesome. And so this is going to be something kind of similar, like a place to come to gather resources and ideas for what's happening in your business. But I'm going to be very intentional, as is Kathleen, about what we use it for and how we put our time and energy into it every day. Then we have talked about that we'll have masterclass trainings. And so something that I've realized I really love doing and has helped make the retreat such a huge success is bringing in speakers from outside the industry. So bringing in high level speakers and people that have done amazing things in other parts of the world that can help give us the information and the training we need to be the best version of ourselves in this business. And the reason I started doing that was because I realized in a small business, we get to dabble a little bit in every aspect of it. So HR, marketing, social media, finance, hiring, training, recruiting. As an admin, oftentimes you're asked to kind of dip into each parts of those. And so that's when I really found myself looking outside of the industry for more training and more access to speakers. And so we'll be doing the same thing with this group. And I think as of yesterday, I started announcing the speakers. And so we have Enmay Mangles, who's a strategic intuitive advisor and works with executives at Google and Starbucks and all sorts of people from around the world. And then we'll also have Anise Kavanaugh, who's an author, speaker, writer, and just a fantastic thought leader, and has written books like The Contagious Culture, Contagious You. And then the third speaker that we're going to be announcing soon, I'll just give you guys all the sneak peek since you're here today. Our third speaker is Jennifer Beatles, and she's going to be talking all about investing and how to think about your finances in a different way so that we're not just thinking about them in our 9-to-5 jobs and just having this one avenue of income, but thinking about having multiple avenues and how we as admin can start to think about our finances this way instead of this way, meaning like we just don't go up in salary, but we create other avenues of revenue for ourselves to give ourselves more opportunity in the
Yes,
world.
which can benefit the team, right?
Yes.
Because we can also find ways to attract business and help the team and the agents reach their production goals and
Yes.
therefore earn other money, so that as admin are supporting agents to sell millions and potentially earn millions, then there is an equal balance to an admin also working toward financial freedom, financial stability that benefits everyone, the team, their agent, as well as their families.
Yes. Yes. So then along with that, you'll get priority access to the retreats that I host. And so the last retreat, which is now happening finally next week.
Yay!
Oh my gosh. I started planning it over a year ago. And so in that, when I last announced that this most recent retreat, it sold out in 48 hours. And so to have priority access before it's open to the public is definitely a treat and something that we wanted to provide our inner circle members. We'll also be doing accountability groups. And so And I think the cool thing about this is one of our focus groups that we did with admin to ask them about this membership is somebody mentioned and brought up that not only was it cool to be able to be a part of an accountability group, but to learn how to help hold other people accountable in a way that makes sense and feels good. Because I think oftentimes as admin, we are also asked to keep agents accountable and to keep, if we're in charge of other admin or if we have a department of admin, that is something that we're asked to do. And a lot of people, like we know as leaders, we don't always get any sort of training around how to be a leader and how to keep people accountable in a way that makes sense and feels good. So I'm also excited about that. All right, we have a couple more minutes before Maria joins us. We should talk about the success path. So we wanted to create a path so that when people entered the membership, they knew where they were and where we were going. And that this was not just a random Facebook group where we're going to be throwing, different speakers at you and have different ideas. We're going to have a path and we're going to talk about the path in our accountability groups and then as a large group. And so every 2 months, we will have a different accountability group and a different theme. So as an example, to start out, we're calling this first segment, Name It. And that's where we're going to talk about the beginning. Where did you learn what your values are, what you believe, and what you now act upon? Because those are all, they all affect your everyday life and your business. And so we're going to talk a lot about programming and conditioning, and we'll get super clear on where we are, where we started, and then what we can do to shift and really change the outcome of whatever we want to change in our lives and what's currently happening in our lives.
Right, because it starts with awareness, self-discovery, and clarity. And not just being on what I have affectionately referred to recently as the hamster wheel of doing transactions and just coming to work every day and working really hard. And that's important. And, be you the inner circle, and our success path is a way to just be able to step off the hamster wheel for a few minutes and work on each of these different steps so that you can keep having, bigger and different outcomes.
Yes. All right. And then I just added this information in the last week or so because I did want to make sure we were talking about this and really, we better tell people what they're in for, give them a little bit of an idea of the time commitment. And so we understand also that people are extremely busy, and oftentimes admin are some of the busiest people that we know. And I want to encourage people that even though you may be incredibly busy and you have a lot going on in your lives, you do want to make time for yourself, and we can help you learn how to make time for yourself. So we believe it'll be about 2 to 3 hours a month of what we call super delicious learning, which I really love that you came up with that, Kathleen. And we'll be meeting as members to the second and third Friday of the month from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. And then the accountability groups will meet during those member meetings. And if there are any additional times that they want to meet up, that will be up to them to figure out and to schedule. And then our quarterly masterclass trainings will happen every 3 months or so, and those will typically be during our membership meetings unless the speaker needs a different time of the month.
So this is all virtual. This is all on video conference.
Yeah.
And we understand, that's really the only way we can meet anymore. And that we would love to be able to have, in-person gatherings, and Margaret's retreats are something that, we look forward to be able to come in person. But this is a way for us to meet collectively and then to break into small groups virtually, so that every member gets a chance to get to know the other members and, build that network, that connection, and have those shared experiences in small groups, but also recognize they are a part of a much larger global connection as well.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Because I'm going to try and keep us on schedule. I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We can come back to this if you guys have questions later, and let's let our first guest, Maria, out of the waiting room. She's been so patiently waiting in there. There we go. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you. Hi, Kathleen.
Hi, Maria. Oh, Maria, I was just looking up to make sure I knew your anniversary date with Tammy Wah in Tampa, Florida. And I cannot believe it's April 16th, 2018.
I know it's gone by pretty quickly.
It's
Mhm.
amazing, right?
I know it is.
And you and I
It
have
is.
been able to work together, I think all, if not all that time.
Oh, we have. We have. I think we started working together 2 weeks after I started with her.
Hmm.
So thank you so much.
Oh, it is my great pleasure. And
Yes,
I'll
you've
put
been
in
my
a link.
mentor and my rock because I don't think I would have been able to make it without you.
Well, the business has gone fantastic for
It has.
you and
We've
Tammy
been very
Waugh
fortunate.
and
Yes.
Monica Delmonico, right? You're a buyer's agent. So business has been
Yes.
really great. But I want to put in a plug too for
Mhm.
NARESP because Maria and I were
Yes.
together in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
At live in Tampa at the NARESP conference for the whole weekend.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I know. And we might have been together in 2020 in Orlando. Or was that this year? Was it 2020? In the beginning, it was January 2020.
I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
we would have
Before
been
COVID.
together perhaps in 2021 because it's in January. But you know, it was virtual this year. But I really got to see Maria in person and hang out. And then she was kind enough to also let me be a guest at her home. So I didn't even have to stay at a hotel when I
Oh,
came.
nice.
I know, it was so special. She has a beautiful home and she was such a gracious guest. And then I
Thank you.
recently had posted on Facebook that we went out to dinner. What was the name of that wonderful restaurant, Maria?
Donatello's.
Donatello's, and
Yes.
we'll put a plug in for them too.
So that's like the Burns Steakhouse of Tampa, but it's Italian. So it's been
Mhm.
around forever and it's very popular.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So we had a
It
wonderful.
was really delicious.
So I wanted to be able to ask you here today. So, and thank you for coming to share
You're
your
welcome.
experience with everyone. I really appreciate it. But what kind of impact has it been for you to be in coaching since you started in your role? What has that been like for you?
Well, it's been amazing because when I started with Tammy, I had no real estate experience whatsoever. I had some business experience prior. I worked with my family for 25 years
Oh
in
yeah,
the
you did.
business, and I had some business experience, but I had no real estate experience. So to me, that was that was a big deal because you know how the agents are very busy. They don't have the time to train you one-on-one. So I was so you know, grateful that I had you because I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have not been able to make it. So it's been great. And that REA program is fantastic. I still today, once a month, I tune in and I watch the program because right now I feel like I can really watch it and I can relate to it better.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I was learning it, it was so new to me that even though it was very helpful, it just wasn't familiar. So it was very difficult to
Right. Well, there's a lot of
do it.
information, right? So the
A lot of
REA training
information.
program on video.
Yes, there is a lot. So it is one of my favorite programs. I highly recommend it. I think it's an important piece to have in your training and in your coaching.
Mhm.
And even though you may be experienced, and in my case, I was not, so it was extra helpful for me. I think that it's something that everyone should consider. It's like a refreshing course too, as far as someone that has a little bit of more experience and is starting in the administrative role.
Well, and I appreciate that you're going back to learn more because one
Mhm.
of the things that I sort of alluded to when you first, came on here today is that the business has grown.
It sure has.
And so the demand
Mhm.
on your skills and your
Right.
proficiency as
Mhm.
the only and the lead admin keep expanding too,
Yes, they keep expanding with the business. We had
right?
our best year this 2020. So Tammy was very happy. We did extremely well. And yes, I mean, I think I always need to be educated.
Mm-hmm.
I think in real estate and what I do, every day I have to educate myself and continue to learn and to just do as much as I can to just get better at what I do.
Well, let's put a mention in for David Breckheimer because we're studying
Oh,
with him
yes,
too.
I know.
Right. And so the goal is to
Yes,
do 100 transactions.
right.
And so one of the things that Maria and I worked on in our coaching is, okay, the systems that you use in the business when you do 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 transactions, it's not necessarily the same way of thinking and the same systems and the same tools that you may do at 100 transactions.
Absolutely.
So like a number of my clients, we went to David Breckheimer and said, okay, we want to learn more from you because I know you may not realize how incredible your thinking is because it's just the water you swim in, but we would like to come in the pool with you.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
We'd like to go.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Right. So we all got his
Yeah.
course, and now
Yes.
we're in a small group coaching with David Breckheimer on the privately on the side, although I imagine he would do that for others. And so we're working together to see, okay, what can we implement from, you know, his strategies and his tools into the way Maria and Tammy and Monica run the business so they can hit their goals. And so I know that's, you know, another way that you're keeping your learning going.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And to me, the main thing has been the time blocking because, you know, we can get so involved in one day that you feel like you've accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
No, really. You know,
It's so
sometimes
true.
it's so overwhelming that you just, you know, you have to have a system to be able to accomplish your goals on a daily basis that are important. And I think with him, I'm learning that blocking time. I never even thought about ever blocking time. But as I realize that I do block time, and even if it's 2 or 3 hours, I can accomplish so much more during that time than I can in a whole day.
Oh, incredible.
So that's one of the incredible things I'm learning from David.
So how did you come to make the decision that BU, the inner circle, the membership that Margaret and I have so heartfully designed, how did this speak to you? Because you have joined as a founding member.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm
how did
sorry.
you know that this was something like, yes, I want to learn more. I want to learn this.
Well, what attracted to me to it the most was that it was just for administrative assistance and the agents were not involved. Because, you know, I think that you know, we're in a different level, of course, you know, but just as important to them, to their business.
Yeah.
And I think that it's nice that it's just the administrative assistance group. And then that way we can relate to each other in the same level and help each other, you know, with ideas and better ourselves, you know, to work on our own personal strengths so that we can bring those along with us to the office on a daily basis. So it's almost like a get together to kind of, it's just not nice knowing that everybody does the same thing, you know? Yeah, that we're all in the same boat together. And we're trying to survive. Yeah.
I know it. And you and Tammy have a fantastic working relationship.
We do.
Right. So you and your
Yes.
agent and Monica as well on the team. And so I just want to point out that even, you know, in that great relationship, there's nothing wrong. There's no problems, you know,
Right.
there's no conflict resolution or anything happening. This is really something that you see that you would like to do for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is for myself. I mean, this is like personal growth. Like I said earlier, you know, everything that I can do to better myself, you know, to be more successful at what I do, to be more, you know, to enjoy it. I think it's important that you really like what you do. You know, we do so much of everything every day because it's just not one thing we do. We do a lot of different things. At least I do. I know I do a lot. So, you know, to be able to just have a group that you can come to and you can share your thoughts with and, you know, and get ideas and have speakers. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
I really am. It's going to be really good.
it is going to be really good. And
Yes.
the fact that, you know, you bring to your work that I know you bring to your working relationships with Tammy and Monica, and that you'll bring to the BU, the inner circle, you bring so much contribution, right? Because I know you enjoy the receiving, you're looking to learn, but I know you well enough to know that you're a giver.
Oh, I am. I'm a big giver. Yes.
You're a big giver.
Yes, yes, I am.
And so you will share your experience and strength so that others can also learn from you. So not everybody has to learn the same lessons the same way.
No, yes, and everybody's lessons are different, you
Mhm.
know, and everybody's situation is different too. So that'll be nice to be able to come together as a group and share all those things. And you know, I'm sure we can all learn from each other in some positive way.
Agreed.
I
Yeah.
feel like the only question that I've had a question that just came to mind that I'm for
Mhm.
Maria. I love that you just jumped in, and I love that the founding members that we have just jumped in. And I'm curious what you would say to someone who doesn't know you, doesn't know me, doesn't know Kathleen. Why should they consider? Why do you think if they're nervous or anxious, what would you tell them to say, "Hey, just give it a shot, give it a whirl"?
I would say that I'm nervous and anxious about a lot of things I still do. And
Okay.
I've been doing this for about 3 years. But
Yeah.
you know, we have to jump into things, you know, and put that aside because that's the only way that we can grow
Mhm.
in what we do. Because if I were to not be able to do that, I probably would not be this far. So I still struggle with some of that and on a daily basis sometimes. And sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do that, or you know, I'm anxious to do that. I'm so nervous. And then, but I push myself to do it because what I would say is it's only going to value your job. You know, if you have a lot of value in your job and it's really important to you, then you want to better yourself towards that.
Yeah.
So I think that I would say that go for it. You know, the only way you know is that you have to try it. You know, you have to see if it's good. You know, in some cases, some people may think it's not that great. I really didn't benefit because not doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to benefit everyone. But I think it's good to try it
Mhm.
and not to be opposed to not trying it because it could be very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
Mhm.
And for the people listening, it is an annual membership and you can buy the whole year at once. And it is also a monthly installment membership. And if people get in and find out it's not for them, well, then you just tell us and then you go. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly.
We want people who want to be there,
Mhm.
but we also appreciate, you know, the step of courage into, well, let me try it. Let's see, is this going to make a difference for me? And so we have also set that up in terms of the agreement and the payment plan so that it is something that you can try and put your best in. And if it isn't it, that's okay. And we also
Mhm.
priced the annual, you know, the membership, the monthly payments as something that we thought would be reasonable for admins to contribute on their own,
Mhm.
depending on what their budget and lifestyle is, of course. And if it was also something they wanted to ask their agent to pay for or their broker to pay for, depending on, or their TC manager or whatever that situation is, that it was also a reasonable investment.
Mhm.
And so that's been also very consciously designed
Mhm.
because we want admin to be able to step into their own and be able to, you know, have these opportunities
Yeah.
at a
Mhm.
level and a price that fits and a time commitment that we thought was also reasonable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's one of the other objections we sometimes are curious about. Maria, if you could share this, what kind of a time commitment? I mean, you and I have coaching
Question.
Mhm.
probably 3 times a month.
Correct. Yes.
And so how do you fit that 30-minute time commitment into your, you know, work life?
Oh, it's on top of my list. Uh, Yes, it has to be that I have absolutely something that I have to be, you know, that I cannot work around, but it's that important to me. You know, my 30 minutes with you on a weekly basis is like, oh my God, I can't wait, you know? So I
Ditto.
I think that for me it's really been easy because you know, I just I make a commitment to make sure I'm available.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and things come up and, you know, not every time, you know, things will pop up, but I would say that pretty much on a regular basis, I like to be able to know that I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock on Wednesdays for you,
Yeah.
you know, and I try to get onto the mastermind, which I also enjoy a lot too. Sometimes I do have a little conflict with that one because it's kind of like in the middle of the day a little bit.
Mhm.
And so sometimes that I have a conflict with, but I think that we need to make time, just like with the inner circle, you
Yeah.
know, we need to put it on the calendars and make it a priority as
Agreed.
you would anything else
Mhm.
and
Agreed.
just stick to that.
Yep. Because we know it has payoff. We know it has a big payoff.
Oh, it does. It absolutely has payoff. And if it has payoff, then we need to be there to receive
right.
that.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
How are we doing for time, Margaret?
I think we're good. We can stop for a little break.
Okay.
Yeah. But this has been awesome. Thank you, Maria, for sharing.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure. Mhm.
I'm looking
It
forward
is
to
a
hanging
pleasure.
out with you and getting to know you more in the industry.
Oh, you need to come to Tampa one weekend and then we can all get together with Tammy and Monica and go out.
Okay. I'm good. That
Have a
sounds good
nice
to
I
me.
would
dinner.
love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes, it would be awesome. You're
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
welcome.
All right, let's see. It's 9:31. So we can break for like 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes actually. We have Maggie coming in 10 minutes. So I can, let's see, maybe I'll go back to sharing my screen and put myself on mute. Should we do that and come back in like 5 minutes or so?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Maria, you are free to fly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm gonna put this on here. Yay. Well, just so everybody knows, we'll be doing these mini breaks between our guests, just to give everybody a chance to grab a cup of coffee, hop on, hop off.
Answer an email.
Yes.
But I'm also interested, Margaret, for you to share a little bit about how you would have wanted this, when you were.
Oh yeah, I can definitely share that before we bring Maggie on a little bit. Yeah, I think back to when I first walked into the brokerage and I had my interview with Jesse in Pickett Street, and I always tell
that video.
Yeah,
I've seen that interview.
Oh my gosh, I was such an itty bitty little thing in terms of like where I was in my life. It was so funny to look back and see. But I remember walking in and thinking, wow, this is really old school. Meaning like I had been working at the Seattle Art Museum, which is a really modern building, really modern, forward thinking, all sorts of things. And I remember walking in and thinking, oh, this can't be for me. This is not like what I'm supposed to be doing. And when I think about that first year, I struggled a lot with trying to figure out what my capacity was, because in other jobs, I'd always been very clear on here's what you do, here's what the expectations are, here's what you do to meet those expectations. Right. And when I entered the world of small business, not just real estate, but small business, all of a sudden there was a lot more gray area because you are just kind of doing what you need to do to get the job done. And you have
all these different hats.
And so I was so fortunate to fall into Pickett Street with Jesse, because something that Jesse Moore has always been really good at was helping me set expectations with myself and with the team on when it was time for me to go home. And so if I had had this group, oh my gosh. I mean, there's a lot of different things I did during my time there with teaching, speaking, and growing personally and professionally. But I think it would have advanced probably at an even faster rate if I'd had more people around me to reinforce and validate what I was learning and what I could do, what was possible and what I was capable of.
And what you were going through that was normal, and what you were going through that you could get out of.
Yes. I don't know how many times I went to people and I was like, am I crazy? Am I totally crazy? Can you tell me if I'm crazy? Because I'm not sure. I'm in my own little bubble and I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping that this helps us break out everybody out of the bubble and off the island, and we can all be on an island together.
Right. We can be in the pool.
Yes, we can be in the pool together. Oh my gosh.
Because that is something that comes up in my new hire admin onboarding coaching, where admin are so reassured that what they're going through is this totally normal.
Yes.
This is the part where you feel this. This is the part where you go through that. Here's this lesson.
Yeah. Collective sigh of relief.
So satisfying.
It is. There's something about it. And the cool thing too is that when you have those people around you, all of a sudden I started to enjoy the journey more. So when I came into those unknown areas, if I don't know if this is how I'm supposed to feel or what I'm supposed to do, all of a sudden I could have fun with it, because I knew that no matter what, it was going to be okay. There's either I could find somebody who had been through it before me, or I just knew that, hey, I'm going to at least have all these people with me on this roller coaster of a ride.
Yes.
So it really made it a lot more fun, which is how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Maybe fewer tears too.
Yes. Fewer tears would be good. All right. Well, should we bring Maggie on?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Be good. All right. Well, should we bring Maggie on? Hi.
Hi, I can hear a little bit of an echo. Hi, Maggie.
Yeah, the echo might be.
You guys pulled up on my phone. Sorry, let me turn that off.
That's okay.
And rename myself there. Okay. Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you.
Yeah, good to see y'all.
I pulled up in my notes, Maggie, that your anniversary is this month with Kathy Welch in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, I think it was actually just a couple of days ago.
Wow.
Yeah, yep. 4 years. 4 years strong. It's been awesome.
Amazing.
Really amazing. And you guys are doing really well. And you too. We just had Maria Leon with Tammy Wah on just before you today. And so, and she's been with Tammy since 2018. So you're the next highest award winner.
Yeah, I know that's a big feat because I don't remember exactly what the statistic is, but I know, I mean, what's the 2 years? Yeah. So I know it's an accomplishment for sure. It's been, I don't know. It's one of those things I'm like, I couldn't have even imagined if you told me what the last 4 years of my life would have looked like 4 years ago, it'd have been like, no, you're crazy.
I know, but so much has changed, right? And you and
Uh-huh.
Kathy Welch get together, you work together so well, right? So you two, like Margaret with Jesse and Maria with Tammy, you have a very supportive agent who also believes in let's get what we need, let's keep learning, let's keep growing, let's keep
Right.
stretching. And so that is definitely a theme, that I can see for you as well.
I feel absolutely blessed to work with an agent that is, yeah,
Really
prioritizes self-growth and self-development and having a relationship with each other outside of just the business relationship. So
nice.
it's been an awesome 4 years.
So I'm curious for you to share because you and I've been coaching, right, for years, which has been fantastic for me. And I have seen that blossom for you and Kathy. How has being in coaching made a difference in your working relationship with your agent?
It has been honestly like life-changing for me. It has been the best thing ever. I always think back to when Mo shared not that long ago her video of what she looked like during her interview process when she first got hired. I feel like I would have been like 10 times worse than that, like super timid, super like terrified, just like tell me what to do. I don't want to, I'm a people pleaser. I don't want to screw anything up. I don't want to make the wrong decision. I had a really hard time in the beginning, I think, just owning my decisions and just taking things and running with them. I always wanted to ask for permission to make sure I was doing the right thing and that I wasn't going to upset anybody. That's my perfectionist, people pleasing side coming out for sure. So, I mean, in the past few years that we've been coaching together, it's really helped me come into my own and be able to own the decisions I make and to think and to know that, this is what I think is right. And sometimes asking for forgiveness instead of permission, just like doing it.
Yeah.
Which has been really, if I'm completely honest, difficult for me, but like completely empowering and life-changing.
Cool.
And it's really shifted my relationship with my agent, Kathy, to a much healthier and better one, to where it's a working business relationship between the two of us and not an employee-employer type situation, which is kind of how I started out at. So it's been phenomenal.
I can the amount I can I'm just reminded of all the incidents, of all the decisions, of all the different situations that you've been through and how you keep rising, right? You have an incredible fortitude about you. You don't give up. Your dedication to yourself, your family, to your job, to your agent is really fierce.
I appreciate that because I think 4 years ago, I would not have been able to say that at all. So it's very empowering.
Cool. Well, you've been,
and I don't think I would have
a lot in your life too. So
yeah, I don't think I would have gotten to this place without you. So
No.
I'm very appreciative of that because it's been a roller coaster of 4 years, but I don't think I would be where I'm at if it weren't for you. So I do appreciate that.
Well, and I love what you said, Maggie, about that's a huge piece of growth, is feeling empowered even though you're afraid to say something or speak up, because that is what every business owner says they want. And it's another thing to do it and begin to find that balance of, oh, okay, this is what it means when people are speaking their truth and contributing. And it is empowering because you have something to contribute. You have a different perspective, and it adds value to the business to have more than just one person's brain in there. And so the fact that you keep doing it, even if it feels weird or scary or like I know for me too, I wondered oftentimes, I was like, I feel like this is something that we should do or that I should say, but what if it's not? What if it's wrong? What if it messes us up? What if it screws something up in the business? And that was always a worry of mine. So I think it's awesome that you have identified that about yourself and that you're saying the things.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, it's still a struggle, but I'm way better than I was 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think, we can also sort of share in a general way about a challenge, because you and Kathy had a rough spot in your working relationship that we worked through together.
yeah.
And it was an unintentional rough spot, but it was very challenging for you because you had to be the one to bring it up.
Mm.
Right. Yeah. It
You
really,
were the
that
one
really
who knew
pushed
about it.
me.
You were the one who remembered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It pushed me out of a comfort zone, but it was something that was so completely necessary, not only for my relationship with Kathy, but also for my own personal growth and standing up for, myself, and not, because there's still that fear mentality of the rejection. It was the rejection for me. I was so concerned about the rejection. And again, I don't think, I would have struggled with that a lot more. Maybe I would have gotten through it on my own, maybe not. But it was monumental to be able to have your support through all of that. And like Mo was just saying, like, am I crazy? Am I going crazy? Like, should I not be concerned about this? Should I not? Like, I was just, it is kind of an island, I think, working in operations and on the admin side of things, because you don't really have anybody else to bounce those ideas off of to know, is this normal? Is it not?
Right.
So I think it's really great to have the network of not only you guys, but also other admins
Yes.
and operations managers that can say, yes, this is my experience and this is what I did. It's really great to be able to have those people to bounce ideas off of and to know, and give advice and support and encouragement. I mean, it's really all encompassing to have that support.
I don't even know. And then you just made me think of this. Like, I think back at the beginning too, there were times when I would go to some of my friends and I couldn't really it didn't help because the real estate industry is like its own thing. It's like its own little planet. And if you're not in it, you kind of don't get all the different aspects of it, which makes sense. Like if you were to go home and talk to your spouse or your friend about something, unless you're in the same zone or reading the same book or something, it's hard for them to relate. And so that's part of the invaluable piece too, is I'm realizing having people who have been through the same thing and are in this industry specifically really get it. Yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah, because then you find yourself, you talk to a friend about it and then you have to explain, well, this is what I do and this is what transaction coordinating is. And with you guys, it's just, you get it. I don't have to explain the backstory. I can explain my problem and you get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know it. And it really is, amazing. It's wonderful to be able to help, and one-on-one coaching is fantastic. And Margaret and I, as coaches, can only help so many people in one-on-one coaching. And then, because time is the element, right? I mean, there's just so much time. Yeah. And so then in my business, right, I added the admin mastermind. So, okay, then there's another way that people can come together. But then when we looked at this personal development element of everyone's progress, well, okay, then what's the forum for that? Because it would be a much longer process to train one-on-one coaches to do what we do exactly like we do it and be able to duplicate that. So, but even that is still just one flavor, so to speak.
Right.
The group, I think is multiple input.
And I think that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to about this, is having that group. I really appreciate the fact that the groups are kind of closed, that you have your kind of small group or whatever that you're, for better or worse, stuck with throughout it. But because I think it's really important to form those relationships. Like I said, I think this can be really isolating. And for me, as a single mom who, parenting a 4.5-year-old, I don't really get out much. It's kind of hard for me to go and make friends, especially with like-minded people. So I think that's one of the things I'm most looking forward to, is having people with the same mindset that really value that personal development and personal growth, and that we can form those relationships. And hopefully, if we ever get out of this COVID mess, how awesome would it be to be able to meet those people in person one day and get together?
It's happening. It's totally happening.
Yeah.
It will be over one day. We will be able to get together. I can't wait to hug Margaret so bad.
No, Maggie, you also you're making all these things come to mind for me because you reminded me that the reason there is a cost to it is because I have always wanted to surround myself with people who are willing to invest in themselves. And so we've kept the costs at a minimum because we want to be inclusive, but I also want people who have some skin in the game. I want to surround myself very purposefully with people, like you said, that have a similar mindset and want to go after it and are big thinkers and are invested in and making shifts in 1% shifts in their life. And so I think that's the other thing that I'm excited about, because I'm going to be learning just as much, like alongside everybody as we are for those that are the members. So.
And I think that's important with the pricing, because you don't want it to be like $5 a month to where people aren't going to show up. You want it to be not a huge burden, but also enough that you're going to show up and do the work because you're investing in it. I think that's really important, because I really value the accountability of, that's one of my things. That's my word for the year, is integrity. It's like, I say I want all of these things, but what am I actually doing to make it happen? Am I taking the steps? So I think this is just another added layer of that accountability, that, okay, I'm going to come clean and tell you exactly what I want. And I'm depending on you to make sure I'm accountable and checking in and making sure I'm doing what I are my life choices aligning with what I say I want, which is really important to me and important to business. I mean, you can't have a really good business without also having the balance of the really good personal life. It's very all encompassing.
Agreed. What would you tell people, Maggie, who maybe don't know Margaret or I, and they don't know you, but they are trying to make a decision about whether or not BU, the inner circle, is something that they would like to join? What would you offer them?
I would say if they don't know you, they should. You guys are awesome. I would say, like what we were saying, it's worth the investment. It's worth taking care of yourself. I spent a lot of too many years that I even want to admit, like, not prioritizing myself and my own personal growth, and not realizing that it affected every other facet of my life in ways that are still incomprehensible to me. So I think it's just worth it to make the investment in yourself and to take that leap of faith to do something for yourself in a very safe space. Because while it is, business related, and of course everything goes back to, it's all real estate admins that we're doing everything for the business, but it's really important to take care of ourselves too. So I would just say, if you're on the fence about it, just think about what you want and where do you want to go in life? Do you want to stay stuck in the same place? Do you want growth? Do you want, I think in order to grow, it's really important to have that group and that accountability, the support, the encouragement, because again, it can be very isolating in this position. Especially, I mean, even for me, I only work with one other agent. I don't even have a team. So I'm like, I really feel, did feel, I don't anymore, but it can be very isolating. So
going back to something you said, that you had said that there were many years where you didn't take care of yourself or you didn't invest in yourself. What finally pushed you over the edge to say, you know what, I'm worth investing some time in, whether that's like a massage or whatever? What started you down that path of like actually caring for yourself? And that, because I think it's a big deal.
If I'm completely honest, it was my failed marriage and having a daughter that even though I really couldn't see it for myself, it's weird because I rationally knew, yes, I deserve better and I want better, but I didn't really know how to achieve that. But even though I didn't see it for myself, I had this little baby that I thought, I can't set this example for her. I want better things for her. So that was a huge game changer.
So interesting to me. Isn't it interesting? And I don't have kids, but I think about, it's so powerful to think about the example that you're setting for another human. And that is what prompts you to do something, not because you like, I'm trying to shift that for myself too, is like, I make changes because I care about myself as much as I care about another human. But it's that setting the example thing, like that makes so much sense.
And it's really interesting once you surround yourself with those like-minded people, how it invites other people to want to be better as well. I mean, I really think it changes every single one of your relationships across the board.
It does.
It's really crazy how that works. Yeah.
Well, you're an inspiration.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are. You are fierce. I think that's
That's a good word for her.
definitely my nickname for you at this point.
See, which is totally, again, crazy to me because 4 years ago, I mean, even 2 years ago, maybe I would have been like, that's not me. But I also remember Mo talking at some point about leadership, and leadership looks different in different situations to different people. Like I never would have considered myself an inspiration or a leader or any of those things, but it looks different in different situations. It doesn't mean you have to be an aggressive driver.
Right.
Leadership looks completely
Yes.
different, which has been, that's stuck with me, Mo. I mean, because I never would have considered myself that. So
yeah, no, like what Kathleen just said about you, when I started to have people giving me that kind of feedback or those words, I held on to them. I wrote them down. I put them around me because I began to realize that how I perceived myself was different from how other people saw me. And I needed to start seeing myself like other people were seeing me. And so what Kathleen said about being fierce, abso-freaking-lutely you're fierce. Like to do the things that you've done to get where you are. Most people, we have to remember, most people won't do it. Most people will not.
right.
No, I think, yeah, friggin' get a tattoo. Maybe don't do that, but I would think about like, what can you do to put it around you? Because you are.
Right. Right.
Next thing I know, somebody's gonna come up to me. Margaret told me to get a tattoo of this on my.
Right. I'm gonna post it on Facebook. Margaret told me to do it. I did it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I really thank your agent. I thank Kathy Welch, and Maria Leon was on before you, and I thank Tammy Waugh for making the investment that they have in coaching and training for you and for herself, for your teams, because it has made a difference. And now, to take this next step and be in the inner circle for yourself, that you see like, yes, this is working. I have progress. I have, results, and I want more.
Right.
Really wonderful for you.
It really is the investment in self. And I'm a huge proponent of mental health and counseling. You guys already know that, but I'm a huge proponent of self-development, self-growth. It's been a journey for me, and it's a never-ending one. But I see a therapist on a consistent basis, which I love doing. It's like one of my favorite hours of every single week because it's just so enlightening and freeing. But I always joke that you guys are like my second therapist.
The work therapist. Yeah. And it benefits everyone. Like the study of personal development and psychology will benefit your team, yourself, your family, and your clients.
Right. Yeah. You guys
need
are like
our
second
help.
therapists. And I also know, I think this is important to point out for anybody that's listening or on the fence about it, is that I know that if I ever encounter something that's really difficult for me, that I can reach out to either of you and that you're going to make time to chat with me about it. I think that's really important for people to know as well. While we have our groups and there's a schedule and all this stuff, I know that you guys are there for me if I ever need it, which is monumental. It's huge.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor. It really is.
It's more than just like a business relationship. You guys are like friends, family.
Agreed.
Oh, good. Yay.
Agreed. Yay us.
Cool. Thank you for spending some time with us and just sharing part of your story for everybody to hear. I know that it will speak to a lot of admin. So I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored.
Yay. Okay, cool. Well, we'll take another break now and then come back with Abby in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yay.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you. Hey, you guys, just a reminder that if you have any questions at all about the inner circle, don't hesitate to put them in the comments. And if we can't answer it right at that moment, we will come back to them when we're done with our last guests. So we have Abby coming on here in the next 2 minutes, and then we're ending with Sarah Humes. And so just wanted to make sure to remind you guys that we're also here to answer any specific questions you have about the inner circle. On this lovely Friday morning. I don't know. I could get used to this. This is kind of fun. Maybe we should do this every Friday, interview different people.
It's wonderful to have people share their stories, right? And see how far they've come and
It really is.
all the things they have in common.
Yeah, I know. I really like it.
It's really cool to be able to see the group come together too.
Mhm.
There's all kinds of similarities, but then there's also all kinds of differences
Yeah,
that are really going to make this group rich.
it is. Yeah. All right, let's add Abby in here. Oh. She might have accidentally booted herself out, or
Come back, Abby.
come back. Let me see if she's texted me or anything. I don't think I have her phone number in here. Oh, here she is. Hey.
Hey, Abby.
Hey,
Yay.
hi everyone.
How's it going?
Hey.
Great. How are you ladies? I'm so happy to see you.
We're
You
happy to see you.
too. And a big congratulations. I saw your picture in front of the house.
Thank you. We're really happy. It's been a really great experience to learn what it's like to actually be a buyer and a seller. So I really have been learning a lot the past couple months.
Right? What a rich
yeah.
series of experiences you have had.
Really.
How many offers did you end up putting in?
We have put in 6 total offers, lots of rejection, lots of second best. You know, being in the business and kind of having an inside scoop really gives you, it makes, you know, kind of reaching more, you're more comfortable with it because you know that's just how it goes rather than feeling like you're overpaying. So we were second best a lot, but I truly now can say that everything does work out for a reason, and we're very happy.
Wasn't that amazing, right? It was such a roller coaster for you, well, for anyone.
And the gift of giving someone a home, I know it's not always the happiest of times to move, but when it is, it's really a gift. So
Not wonderful. Well, congratulations.
thanks.
And so I looked up your anniversary date of September 2nd, 2015 with Aaron Clapper.
I know, I can't believe it.
Right? You're running your
Cool.
record like I had with Kathy Anderson.
Yeah, I told Aaron I'm fine with never having another job. So
Isn't that amazing?
my forever
That's
boss.
awesome.
Well, and when I first met Abby, it was in my slightly previous life when I actually did hiring.
Oh, yeah.
So, so Abby was someone that, you know, we interviewed and then placed, and then I have had the enormous privilege to work with her the whole time she's been with Aaron, which is
That's awesome. And really
amazing.
unique. Yeah. Doesn't always happen that way.
Well, no. And then I do give Aaron Clapper an enormous amount of credit for that because he is incredibly supportive, generous, and he really wants what's best for everyone. And he particularly wants what's best for Abby. And you have been, you know, you have grown and changed Abby in so many ways.
Definitely.
Right? This has been quite the journey for you. You've changed brokerage firms with Aaron now twice.
Yeah, 3rd brokerage, two transitions.
Right. And then helped him get the office, moved offices. And so, you know, you've had some adventures that were just tactical, to say nothing of all the rest of it with transactions and your own life. You've gotten married,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? And what do we call his dog? It's like his third child, right? Aaron. So
Yeah.
Aaron got a dog in the middle of all of that. Right. So there's been lots of different kinds of transitions, but it's just really amazing, that you have stuck together. And one of the things I wanted to talk about was the kind of experiences that you've been exposed to. And in 2019, right, I had a workshop of Alliance and you came to that in Los Angeles. Margaret was there. And so that was probably the first time you got to meet Mo, right?
Yeah.
And that was a workshop, that I had for agents and admins to come together. There were a few admin there who had flown in from Chicago on Lee Marcus's team in Chicago, which is, a longtime person that Aaron Clapper and other Mike Ferry trained agents will know. And so he had his admins flown in, which was also, pretty incredible.
Mhm.
But what was that like to go through an experience, of sort of development and exploration, with your agent?
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, it was extremely educational, and having Aaron there by my side, taking, multiple days off of work
Mhm.
to invest in our relationship together as, work partners, and just to really see how much he relies on me and takes my job seriously. It really makes me feel like, he brings the money in, he makes everything go, I owe him a lot of just, my well-being, but he really relies on me a lot as well. And
Yeah.
it really just made me feel empowered to know that and to really see how much he's willing to invest.
Because I can see that, Maria Leon was on earlier with, works with Tammy Waugh, and then Maggie Reed on with Kathy Welch. And you, like with Aaron Clapper, you guys have really fantastic working relationships, right?
Yeah.
And you work together over the years, but there's always more, right? I mean, the business is always changing and evolving. And then as people, you're both interested in continuing to grow. And so how do you make time in your, weekly schedule? We've had the privilege, right, of working together twice a month now for years. And so how do you fit that into your schedule? What kind of difference does that make for you?
Of course. Well, a big thing is just, since I've had this position, my hours with Kathleen a week have always been a part of my job. We've had various mastermind groups that have also been about an hour per week, that we've been working on just our development outside of the day-to-day actions. So it's always been kind of part of the culture with Aaron to really take time. We've read books together as a team. We've had team meetings where we talk about our goals. Kathleen actually helped me arrange a weekly team meeting, which, because of the pandemic has been a little wishy-washy, but in a perfect world, we meet once a week. I lead the meeting, and it's a great opportunity for me to catch up with my agents who are all over the place. I only have 2 agents on my team, but they both have children that they're, that they're very involved with, bringing around. So we're not always in the same place together, and just having these moments where we can all come together, and they really treat me like one of their equals, even though they're obviously the ones bringing in the checks. So that really just helps me out.
Yes. And Linda, what is Linda's last name? Hernandez, right, is your incredible buyer's agent.
Amazing buyer's agent, yes.
And you've all been together. Has Linda been with Aaron the whole time you've been with Aaron?
Yeah, so when I met Aaron, Linda had been with him for 3 years.
Wow, I didn't remember that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Right, so you really are on this journey together. So we've been trying to anticipate for people that are listening to this live cast and seeing, our posts and things about what are some of the considerations that they might have around time commitment or around being able to have their agent understand value. So it sounds like you just put it on your calendar, let your agent know, and he is supportive.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think something else that Kathleen and I have worked on a lot is that if you don't make time for personal development, you're just always going to be working in a reactive state, whether it's an email's coming in or somebody's calling or you have to, get your paperwork in. If you can just learn to manage your schedule in a way where you set time for these personal development things, then it really pays off in the long run. I mean, I couldn't even imagine with Kathleen, I mean, you've been I call you my work therapist, but you've also taught me how to implement systems, how to be empowered in my job, to take it beyond just being, the administrative paper filer, Erin's assistant. It's really taken me beyond that. And I don't think I ever could have mentally gotten there if I didn't have somebody coaching me through that. So that's really what, investing the time gets you to.
I'm glad you bring that up because I almost forget about that now, right? Because you've changed. But that was a mindset shift that you worked through about being an assistant, a kind of an old-fashioned mindset, right? Or of receiving delegation and then doing what you was, and that it felt limiting. But then
Exactly.
as we've worked together and you've tried different things, you have been able to empower yourself and elevate your role, which was always open to your agent, right? Like Erin was always open to you and thought of you as being that person and having that kind of impact in your position. And it's funny, we were just talking about this with Maggie a little bit about getting feedback from other people and then taking that on like, I don't think of myself that way, but you see me that way. So I guess I could try that on.
Yeah.
Right. And you've been able to do that. And I'm also remembering because I think conflict or feeling conflicted is one of the things that is useful of coming to a group, right, or having other kinds of coaching outlets. And there was a period of time where there were inside sales agents in the business, and you were in a position to see that what was going on was not the arrangement that Erin had set up. And I loved giving you the feedback that your outrage was appropriate. Right? But then it was like, how do I bring this up? How do we talk about this? How do you channel this upset into what that looks like in terms of next steps as a responsible business person in operations?
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Right. And so can you share a little bit about that, Abby, what you went through because it transformed you?
Yeah, definitely. No, that was the first big confrontation I've had to have with Erin. And I haven't had to have many, but having Kathleen to kind of bounce off how I'm going to go about these conversations has been just invaluable. But what happened was we had two inside sales agents that the agreement was they would get paid, whatever their salary was every 2 weeks. And they would be making calls for 8 hours a day, with a lunch break or whatever. And the system that we used, it tracked their hours. So they would send us their hours every day and, life went on. And one day I realized that you could check the times that the calls were being made. And I found out that one agent was like running the clock at midnight, 2 a.m., just so that his timer could say the 8 hours. And, I liked this person a lot. I thought that we were going to have a long-term relationship. So it was really hard for me to feel like I was telling on him, but also, my boss is pouring money into somebody who's not trying to further the business. So it just felt like, when you're such a small team, you can't just let the car crash, So that was a really tough conversation to have with Erin because he's like me. He's very likable, very amiable, but he did the
he's
things
generous.
He
he gives people the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, right, you were in such a position to protect him.
Yeah,
exactly.
And protect the business.
I feel like there's a term that they throw around in the Keller Williams world called empire protector. And
Mm.
what you just did there basically was you built a huge block of trust with Aaron, because you were like, I have your back. I see the systems. I see the things behind the scenes. And it's really important. And it also made the realization that I remember coming to at some point as an admin was, sometimes when things like that happen, it's because it's time for that person to move on. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I used to hate when people would leave, not just like the business, but my life, like any kind of transition or change like that. I was like, I want to miss this person so much. And it's still okay to miss that person, but maybe they're not, maybe they're doing something because they actually want to leave, or and they don't even realize they have that. So what you just did there is, I think, what every owner and business leader hopes and wishes that their employees do, which is just come together to work together and to bring to light things that need to be brought to light in order to move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking with Maggie about the fact that one-on-one coaching is wonderful, but there's only so much time. There's only so many people that you can see in a day, see in a week, see in a month. And therefore the group, and why we designed Be You, the Inner Circle, as a way in which people would have access to us, but also have access to each other, and be able to see, ways in which, of course, they can be different in their job, ways they can learn, how they can see where they are against where they want to be. Because one of the things we're describing in this scenario, that I appreciate you sharing about, Abby, is admin and operations people. I'm thinking of Susan Scott and the Fierce Conversations beach ball, right? Because the agents are on the green stripe, they're on the money stripe, right? They're trying to keep making things happen, and we're on the orange stripe and the blue stripe and the yellow stripe, but we see things that they don't see. And it is so important to have a voice and find a way to speak up, and to be able to then bring that to them and say, this is the agreement, and this is what you said you wanted, and here's what I'm seeing. And so what do you want to do about that? Because it doesn't mean, like Maggie was saying, that you had taught her that leaders don't have to be these big driver, aggressive people, that admin leaders have, an opportunity, and I will say at some point, an obligation to bring what they see forward. I can remember having conversations with different teams when agents come back from a conference and they're all fired up about some new software tool that somebody gave a presentation for, and so now they're like, we're going to change the database, and we're going to change, and we're like, wait a second. And so, to be able to help them see, like, okay, we understand this has a lot of shiny things we might want, but let's work that through and see what that will really take, and what will be the impact of making that change. And they need us to do that. They don't think like that, most agents, in the same way, because, they're forward-thinking visionaries, right? So it's like in Rocket Fuel, right? The counterbook to Traction, where the visionary and the implementer, that is the yin and the yang of it. And in my business, right, I'm the agent. In my business, I'm the one with all these ideas that Laura and Joyce and Tiffany have to say, oh, it's a really good idea, but can we slow down? Can we put that in the parking lot? And so I get it. I'm living the dream on both sides. And so you have, grown into this admin professional who sees her worth and her value, and sees where you make a contribution that is unique to you. So I really just want to make sure that you know that I see that, that we see that, and it's just fabulous. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, you reminded me of something else when you were talking earlier about the time commitment, when Kathleen asked you about time commitment and how you just put it on your calendar and make time for it. And it really made me think about, as an example, David Breckheimer, and how Kathleen's having different clients go through his transaction coordination, time blocking training, and all sorts of the different aspects in the way that he thinks and batches information. And it really made me think about, if you don't ever stop what you're doing in the business, because right, as admin, we're working in the business all the time. If we never stop and work on it, we'll never change the way that we work, right? Because we won't be learning anything new about any new processes. We'll just keep going. And so by stopping, I think sometimes we feel like we're not accomplishing anything by stopping or pausing, but really we're pausing to incorporate something new into our flow. And I think the way that you've adjusted your schedule to incorporate that is something that's really impressive, because again, I think as business owners, I see a lot of agents, and myself, I feel this way sometimes too, where you're just like, I just got to go, 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 go. Just never stop. Don't stop. And you've really been really consistent and persistent in stopping to do that, because sometimes it's hard to like notice the growth.
Right.
Like it's great for like, it's awesome to have somebody like Kathleen that can point out like, hey, Abby, this is where I saw you 5 years ago. This is where you are now. It's kind of incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that made a big difference for you, Abby, was when you went on that trip. Where was that trip that you went where you saw all the color and you saw all the art? Where did you go?
Oh, Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Oh, wow.
That trip changed you too, because you had experiences and saw things and did things, and that inspired you. I'm going to say still.
Yeah, it really did.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that's another example, right, of making the plans, taking the time, working that out with your agent, and then having those experiences that, lit you up still.
Definitely. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Abby.
Cool.
Thank you guys so much. You're the best.
Thank you for taking your time to do this with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right. Let's see. So it's almost 10:30. We have a couple more minutes until Sarah hops on. Do we want to take another break, or do we have one question that came in from Christina Jaggles.
Yeah.
And she asked, how would one become a speaker for the inner circle? Great question.
Like our masterclass speaker?
Yeah.
No. Just just contact us.
Yeah, basically.
Tell us what you do.
Yeah, I would say, Kathleen and I have we've conferred about what we want these masterclass speakers to be for the group. And we want it to be a spotlight of empowerment, encouragement, inspiration, somebody who has something to offer that is kind of out of the ordinary. So we're definitely going to be talking with a lot of admin about teaching, like learning to teach what you know or what you want to know more about. And so that will be incorporated into the inner circle. But I think the masterclass speakers are, when I think of the people I bring in for the retreat, I like to bring in people that we don't normally get exposure to as admin. And for me, those are people that we oftentimes think are impossible. Like, to have the ability to bring in someone like Enme Mangles, who, speaks to a lot of different people in groups, but has a certain passion and love for what we do as people. That's just not something that it's not normally thought of for the admin world, I've found. Yeah. And so I just like to bring in people that I think will really add value in such a way that it will add to our learning and to what we think is possible.
Yeah, because I think if, we designed the success path in 6 phases for a phase every 2 months, very intentionally, that it will first expand everyone's thinking and then be able to see now, how does this apply and how does this match the kind of goals and development that I want for myself, right? And then there's application. And the different levels of application to be able to create breakthrough, to be able to get different results. And so, because most admin training and coaching is tactical.
Good point. Yeah.
Practical and tactical.
Yes.
And that is necessary.
Yes.
It's just not all inclusive. It's just not all there is.
Yes.
Which makes me want to break into song, but I'll refrain.
No, I think that's one of the best points you can say, is that oftentimes we would get admin, just as an example, at the Pacific Northwest Mastermind, who would come and they would say, well, before I leave, my agent wanted me to get your onboarding checklist, please. So that I have something to take back to show like what I got from this group. And I would look back and I would say to them, have your agent call me. I'd love to talk to them about what the benefits are of coming to the mastermind every month. It's not about just getting a checklist or getting an operations manual or getting something that you can hold with your hands. And I think that's what is so hard for so many people, so many leaders, is that oftentimes when we talk about personal development, it's this gray area that you can't really put a number to. You can't put a quantity to it. And so they have a hard time justifying it, saying this is something that is beneficial. for my employee to go to. And so you have to kind of lean into the fact that, and trust that you and I are going to provide them with a path and with resources that will absolutely add value to their business. It may just not be in the form of an operations mail or something they can touch. And so you're totally right. And that's the part that I got tired of, I think, as an admin, was I kept going to these trainings and these conferences, and it was great. Another drip campaign like this, it's not adding any value back to my team. I need different kind of learning. I need a learning that's going to advance my brain and advance my emotional intelligence and advance my conversations, because that content comes back and absolutely influences what I put into the business. And so I love that you said that.
Yeah, because they're all necessary.
Yeah.
But in an agent's world, it's like going to see Tony Robbins is an integral part of many of their, mind expanding, motivational, tactical way of how they manage their thinking, how they manage their speaking, how they manage their being, the discipline they put into their lives. But you can't directly, it's not a checklist. It's not an operations manual. It's the same kind of thing. And so this is where, as Margaret and I have been getting to know each other and working together, she has had this, chain of successes in her Pacific Northwest retreats and in the classes that she's been teaching all over the country. And I have had this chain of success inside my training and coaching company for 9 years. And so we realized that one of the opportunities that was available in the marketplace, as it were, is this gray area niche. Because yes, and we can talk about checklists and email drip campaigns, and that's part of what the network is for, right? But this piece we find is really only sometimes a shadow of what we're able to do in our other work. And so hence Be You the Inner Circle is designed to help everyone create the breakthroughs that they want, which will impact their jobs.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a testing ground going for the last 8 years as I've been at Pickett Street, where I actually got to experience personal development because of what my leader believed in. I got to see how it affected me. Then I created an event where I could present that information to more people. And then I got to see their changes happen. So all of a sudden, like you said, this data that I've been collecting, it makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense, and it's clear, and it keeps happening. The ROI of these retreats and of these experiences that don't just happen because of me, but because of the attendees too. We're all in this space together, and we suddenly realize, oh, it's not just about what database we use or how we choose to operate in the daily business. It's how we think about ourselves that also plays a part in it. It's how we think about what we're worthy of, how we think about what our teammates are worthy of, how we formulate goals and execute on those goals, why it matters to have a really good work-life balance, and why your family and friends should absolutely be a part of that. So, yeah.
Well, and do we have another couple of minutes before?
Yes, we do. We have about 4 minutes.
Because I want to talk about this next piece of what we're talking about is admin have endurance, right? Admin are known for being givers and will endure. But sometimes the reason they don't speak up about the enduring is this personal development. And it is a missed opportunity. It has a high opportunity cost in the business because they're on the orange stripe of the beach ball and have a perspective that is valuable and needs to come forward. And so this is a frustration I have heard from agents that it's taken me, some time to put together where this symptom hits the condition. I'm a big medical show fan. I'm a wannabe doctor. So I think part of the element of that for me is the problem solving, right? Like putting the symptom together to what is the illness.
Yes.
And so I apply that inside my coaching, and we've done that inside our focus groups, which is sometimes the symptom is that the same problem, these same problems, there's something falls through the cracks. How come this client was blindsided? How come we didn't let people know? It's because there was this hesitation to just keep doing it and not actually sometimes do the hard work and get underneath it and prevent it. And that might be by saying to the agent, every time you make an exception in a listing,
Yeah.
it means that our process doesn't work. And so I really need you to think twice about making exceptions where we don't have to, because we've developed this really great process to deliver the same quality to every seller.
Yes.
But that is very hard. That is confrontation.
Yes.
Even though it is a very valuable, necessary thing to bring up as an observation. And, you know, one of the things I coach admin about is be the consultant, make observations, come up with a recommendation, bring that to your agent, to your
Oh, I
leader,
love that. Yeah.
and say, here's what I see. Here's what I would recommend. What do you want to do?
I love that. Thinking
So-
about yourself as a consultant. Yeah.
Yes, but it
Yeah.
takes practice, and it
Yeah.
takes some encouragement to be
Yeah.
able to sort of script that out,
Yeah.
because the wonderful personalities of admin traditionally, right? It's not always, but we're going to meet Sarah, right? She's doing inside sales agent work, associate work, and she's an admin too. She's an executive assistant,
Yeah.
so she has extra feathers, you know, in her in her crown about that.
It does.
But this is a way inside BU, the inner circle, to be able to work on how do you make an impact in your life, in your work.
Yeah.
This is not covered in checklist training.
No, and I can think of so many examples that you just put in my head of myself when I would go to, and I wish if I had had that idea of thinking of myself like a consultant, I would go to Jesse and I would give him my feedback, and then I would take it personally if he didn't agree with it or didn't hear me and what I intended. Oh, and the taking it personal thing. I mean, that book, The Four
Crushing.
Agreements, it's like, I wish so many things back then, because I think we both took things personally very often for the first couple of years as we struggled to understand each other, because it was literally, we would joke about it, and we joke about it now. It was like we both spoke different languages. Literally, he would say a word, I would think of one definition, he would think of another. And as soon as I realized that, I would start to ask more questions and say, what do you mean by expectation? Like, what does that mean to you? And as soon as I began to understand that we were using different definitions and that we were just a little bit different in our thought process, oh my gosh, it started to change how I felt about those meetings. And I wouldn't have gotten to that place unless I had had this learning and this development alongside of me, to begin to think while I'm in the moment rather than reacting, to begin to think and be in my body and think about what I'm saying before I just reacted personally. So that's such a great example.
Thank you. Yeah, because this is a pain point, and this is very frustrating for admin, because
Super
they
frustrating.
have observations, they have things they want to say and
Yeah.
recommend and do, but are afraid of the rejection. Maggie talked about that, afraid of the reaction of not wanting to lose their jobs, and recognizing that this is actually where, like you said to Abby, like you built this huge trust factor that you were able to come to your agent and say something's not right.
Yes. Yeah.
And what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Cool.
Well, cool. All right. Should we let Sarah
We can
in?
help you.
Yes. That's the kind of stuff we love to talk about.
Hello.
There she is.
How are you, ladies?
Very well, Sarah. It's so great to
Good.
see you.
You too. I'm going to close this door.
Okay.
So I really hope that my camera works and there's no lag. I restarted it because of the CPU usage or CPU, whatever. And
It's good. We
So,
can.
and then- okay.
It's working.
Okay, awesome. And then in terms of going like Facebook Live, how do I do that from my phone?
You can bring it up
Right.
on your phone and just make sure that your sound's turned all the way down so it doesn't reverberate. So we
Oh, I see.
we don't hear you twice. Yeah. But I'll keep an eye on questions too in case anything comes up.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time to join us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Right. And so your job is a little bit unique, right? You are an executive assistant and an inside sales associate.
Yes, that's right. So two important positions.
Two seats in
Very
one.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And you work for House Swayze at Team Swayze in San Luis Obispo, California.
That's right.
right? You have this lovely, wonderful boss. And how many agents are on your team?
Right now there are 3 agents.
Mm-hmm. And how many admin?
There are 4. There's like 2 traditional admin, and then we have an escrow officer, and then we have a listing manager.
Mm-hmm. And you've been in position how many months now?
It's been about 4.5 months.
Yeah. Rock star.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then approximately how many deals does Team Swayze do a year?
We do about 150.
Mhm.
Our goal this year is 180.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And Hal has been in real estate a long time, right? He's very successful. He's well known in his community, and he's a sweetheart.
I like that guy a lot. Like,
Yeah.
when I had the opportunity to speak with Kathleen's mastermind and Hal was on there, I was like, this is amazing. And the agent who's joining in and just the way that he speaks and thinks and processes just showed me that he is definitely a leader and he enjoys being a leader. And I was really impressed.
Yeah, he definitely is the leader. He leads by example, and just the time and energy that he puts into his team is truly amazing. So I feel super grateful and honored to be a part of such a great team. And yeah, he really leads from behind, just like coaching all of us. So it's been good. But yeah, he's been in the business for about 30 years. He's one of like the top producers in the county. And so yeah, I work for a really amazing agency.
Yep, it's really incredible. And he has been willing and enthusiastic about investing in you from the very beginning, right? So we got to work together on your first 90 days in 90 Days to Thrive, and you took REA 101. And did you have any real estate background? Share with people where you came from.
So I did not. I had 0 real estate background. So it definitely was a risk that I took, a plunge. I come from a customer service background, mostly in the medical field, as well as concierge services.
Yep.
And then I worked in retail too when I was for like my first job. So I did some sales as well, but completely new. So those same skills that I had, though, they transferred over to the real estate field. So I think I had a good foundation in that way. And now it's just learning about the business and the terms and how real estate works. It's a whole new language.
And then this was a new position for Hal, right? Your agent had not really had an executive assistant.
Correct. Yes. So, and he did not really have an ISA either. And so when I was hired, what was really great was I was given the freedom and opportunity to make this role my own. Yeah. And to really see where the company is, kind of take a step back at first and get a bird's eye view about how the company's run, and then see, okay, where can I add value? Where can there be adjustments made, improvements? And what's really great about my position and Hal is that he gives me the freedom to do that. He basically just says, okay, great, just run with it. And then he'll let me know if he wants it changed, or maybe we should go with something else. So that's been really awesome.
I know, that really took the pressure off, didn't it? Of trying something, because right, perfectionism is one of the things that we definitely talk about in our coaching that I do with lots. You know, it's a common thing with admin. Last quarter we read the Perfection Detox book, and so it takes the pressure off to have an agent that's like, let's just try it, then we can adjust it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so grateful to work for Hal, because he's definitely not a perfectionist.
Yeah.
He's more of a big picture thinker, has so much grace, so much just like, okay, this is good, it's done, let's move forward. So that's been really good. Whereas I'm more of the detail perfectionist. And so it's been a really, really good balance. Yeah. And if anything, it's like taught me to kind of ease up a little bit and to just have more fun with my job and like implement my creative skills. And I definitely feel now more relaxed in the job and comfortable. And a phrase that Hal has said, as well as his business consultant, is that perfectionism is overrated. And that has really stuck.
I love
That's
that.
really stuck with me. Yeah. And taking the pressure off.
So
That's
good.
great. Totally overrated. So I want to talk about the fact that new in the position, you were ready to jump in and go to the Pacific Northwest retreat that Margaret hosts. What was
Yes.
the motivation to do that?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, right away, I fell in love with Mo in terms of her energy and her enthusiasm and her knowledge, and also hearing about her background. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's amazing. Like, she's a go-getter, and just hearing the things that she has done. And it was really encouraging. It was inspiring. And then also working with you as well, just I was like, I love these people. They are my people. And so I wanted to go to a retreat. That's just my type of personality too, is I need to continue to work on myself professionally and personally, work on my skills. And so I love anything that's like self-development, continuing to grow. And so when I heard about the opportunity right away, I jumped on it. I asked my boss, and with no second thought, he was like, yeah, of course. Like, and cause he's very similar. You know, he attends conferences and different retreats and stuff, cause he wants to also better himself. And we're constantly reading different books here. So, yeah, I took the risk in asking him. I had only been working here for about a month, and, I was just beyond excited. So I was like, all right, I'm in the right place.
I love that you did that, because I have to say, and we can talk about personality types and all of that, but I also believe that you only know so much about a person through an assessment, right? But most admin I know, because the cost of the retreat is over $1,000. This year is $1,340, so $1,340. And a lot of admin have a hard time asking for even $100 class. And so the fact that you went and did it right off the bat, I was like, all right, this says something about her. And it also says something about Hal, that Hal had maybe met me once through Kathleen's mastermind, and he knew Kathleen. But for him to say like, yes, go do this, I was just really impressed. And so I would say, like, if you're talking, when you'll meet more and more admin in your journey, if you were to talk to someone who had a lot of hesitancy about bringing up something like this, what would you say to them to get them to try it?
I would say, just go for it. And I mean, it sounds simple. I would say start off small with asking for things that are out of your comfort zone. So if it is that $99 class or $100 class, just ask. I mean, bring it up in a way where it's, present how the benefits of it, how it's going to help the person grow, how it's going to help the business as a whole. And it depends on the boss as well. But I always have the motto, like, the answer is always going to be no if I don't ask.
Yeah.
And
so true.
That's just my personality. But for more admins or just people that are more like hesitant, I would encourage them to take that risk and to think about, okay, if I do this, how am I going to grow in this? So see like the bigger picture.
You know, I think too, in the way you took on your responsibility right away, you wanted to learn, you wanted to do well, you wanted to understand, what does he need from me? How can I make a difference for you? And I think the reciprocity in that kind of devotion and that kind of enthusiastic action is also easier for agents to see, like, yeah, making an investment here is totally worth the payoff.
That's true.
And so it wasn't you trying to take something for yourself. It was you looking for how you can make a bigger impact, how you can do, better, how you can keep, fueled, because you were proving in your everyday work that was your motive.
That's good.
And you did that from the very beginning. And so I think, that's a part of the formula in there.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think it was a reciprocal It was reciprocal, and I'm always going to be like, how can I help you? How can I make your job easier? And he's so appreciative of that. I think he's like, oh, wow, okay, like, well, you can do this. But I would say, like, having your coaching, especially the first 90 days, was so integral. And I don't think I would have grown as much if I didn't have all of you guys helping. And so I really think that Hal is appreciative too of that coaching, especially because I didn't come from a real estate background. So that provided a really, really good structure and like the foundation. So
yep. 90
yeah,
Days to Thrive is just an amazing bridge of a coaching and training program to be able to accelerate that, because that onboarding is challenging for everyone.
Yes.
It is. And to have a third party who's able to say, yep, here's how we do this. Here's how we can connect these pieces. Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I'm trying to think if I have any other questions for you.
We've been trying to, Sarah, think about, what are on people's minds where they might be hesitant to join BU, the inner circle. So we've been thinking about, do they feel stuck? Is it about the money? Is it about the time? How do you make the decision? Because you're in ongoing, coaching with me. And so how would you help people make the decision about whether or not, continuing to work with us would be something for them?
Let's see. Well, going through, like the pros and cons, like writing it out, making a list. To me, the answer is pretty simple, but okay, like the objection of price. Again, taking that risk, asking your agent. The worst thing is that they'll say no, or maybe you can agree to pay half or something. But it is like an investment in yourself. That's the way that I see it. If you do have to pay for it, it still is an investment in yourself as a whole person.
Agreed.
But also, like, oftentimes I've been very surprised. So again, just like take that risk is what I would encourage others to do. If it's about time, we're all busy in our positions, and the time that I've taken out to watch the mastermind, to be a part of the technology groups and the accountability groups, it really saves you time in the long run, because continuing to work on yourself professionally and personally, you're going to continue to grow, learning how to
do something,
have tangible tools. Yeah. So I learned, time blocking, what tasks are important, how to manage my time. So those are all very practical tools that I learned in that group. And so, like I said, in the end, it's going to save you time. Right. And there's always work to be done. And then trying to think of another objection.
I love what you just said earlier, though, about price. I think that's a really great example to bring up, because of how you just automatically went to, well, what if you offered or suggested that you pay for half? And I think I bring that up because I never used to think that way. I used to think very much kind of in the box, like, oh, it's $111 a month. That's it. What can we do? I can't pay it. Will they? No. Okay. Over. Not even an option. And I haven't even had a conversation with anybody yet. It's all happened in my head. And I think learning what you just did naturally doesn't come naturally to everybody. There are options. There are always options. And so I think learning to ask the questions and just taking the risk, you're going to beat the battle just by helping yourself to understand that maybe this way doesn't work for you, but there's 5 other ways that could work, and ways to think about how you make something happen no matter what. So I love that you said that, because it was just, you didn't even think about it. And some people wouldn't come to mind.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I love that. There are always options. And I've had to remind myself that too. When I'm feeling stuck in life in general, I have to be like, take myself out of the victim mode. We all have choices in all of our lives. We have options, and that's so empowering. And yeah, I mean, the price, like, it's like, okay, how much do we spend on Starbucks? Like, really? Like, every week for like that little frothy drink or whatnot. So,
Right. And we priced, BU the Inner Circle on purpose, right? So founding members who have worked with Margaret and I in some capacity before can join for $88 a month. And people who are new to us, the price that opens on Monday is at $111 a month. And so this is where, okay, does that work for you? Can you do 100%? Do you want to ask your agent for a portion? Would your agent be willing to invest, in that for you? And, we also set it up so that people can join us and try it. And if it isn't for you, then you can go. It's okay. But we have, very consciously designed it so that we want you to stay and we want to make a difference in your lives. But we've also, tried to set that up so that it's a low barrier entry and a very high value impact.
Yeah, that's great. That totally makes sense. And I would just say, like, one more thing too is just being a part of like a group is so important, because as especially admin, like, I think a lot of admins start to feel kind of lost in the weeds, or like they don't have support. A lot of agents have different coaches and mentors,
masterminds and
masterminds, things like that, because sales is so important, and they really are the crux of the business. But then also admins and operations, that's so important too. And I have not really ever heard of a group for admins. I'm sure that they've been out there, but until I joined this team. And so again, it's important to have like-minded people around you, a tribe that can continue to encourage you in the professional realm. And it also just creates that synergy. It just, like, there's this phrase, if you're not growing, you're going, or you're just staying stagnant. And so
it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's absolutely worth it, hands down, no brainer.
You're the best.
Yeah.
And I really want to acknowledge that you have given so much to our mastermind, and I look forward to seeing you and your energy, your enthusiasm, your sense of adventure. You always have something to contribute. And I don't know if you realize how important that is to all the rest of us.
Oh, it's huge.
Because it's infectious, delightful, and it's thought-provoking, and that makes you not only a precious person, but also someone who makes impact, because you will go the extra length, you will go the extra mile for yourself and for others. And that is a phenomenal
character. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, I was going to say something similar in that. A lot of times I don't think people realize that what you put into something is also reflects what you will get back. And whether we realize it or not, part of what's going to happen with this group is we're going to develop some lifelong friendships from it. And some of my best friendships have come out of these things where I've taught classes or run these retreats, because behind the admin, behind the title, is a human. Right. And there's some really cool humans out there that I never would have met if it hadn't been for this. And so just like Kathleen said, right off the bat, even though you hadn't been in this role for long, you were speaking, you were contributing, and by contributing, I mean, not only your words, but like she said, your energy. And when you add all of this and people are intentional about adding to something, that's when the magic happens. And so I really, I appreciate that too. And I hope that you realize that.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. My heart is like swelling. It's bursting.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for taking the time. Our thanks to Hal Swayze. He's wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was good to see you guys.
You too. Have a good rest of your Friday.
You too. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Oh, she's so awesome.
Isn't she?
Yes. Let me check.
Well, and all the agents, right, that have recognized and make an investment in their teams, in training and coaching, it really has enormous payoff. And so, we also appreciate all those like-minded agents who see the value in what we do individually and collectively to be able to train and support admin to be their best.
Mhm.
And so a big shout out, thank you to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of one other thing I would add before we close out for the day. Was I was thinking about, I've had some admin in the PNW mastermind and admin that I've met that have come to the retreat, who have come up to me and said, well, I'm not really sure if I should be here because I'm not really like a go-getter. Like I'm not looking to create a massive business. My agent's not looking to create a massive business. I just want to be a really good mom or a really good dad or a really good friend. And I was like, that this is a place for you too. You don't have to be, and I just wanted to say that you don't have to be someone who, like I think sometimes people get caught in this loop of comparison, and I have found people that compare themselves to me in terms of how motivated I am to build something like this with you. And you do not have to have that same motivation in order to be a part of this group. If you just, it's about advancing who you are as a human and wanting to help contribute, like we were just talking about with Sarah. This is a place for you as well. And so I just felt like I really needed to say that for those that are listening that are kind of like, well, I don't know if this is really for me. Am I really that motivated to build a huge business? And you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be part of your plan to be a part of it.
Well, correct. And the value that will be added to admin who are stable in position on teams,
Oh gosh,
because
yeah.
the average turnover is 2 years,
Yeah.
is if it means becoming a part of BU, the inner circle as an admin, that you are happier in your everyday life, that you are more fulfilled in your work, that you have greater work-life balance, that you're able to have new ideas and ways of thinking that benefit your agent, and you stay in position and learn to contribute to the business differently, that you maybe learn new ways to earn more money,
Yeah.
that you create more financial stability for yourself, and stay in your position longer,
Yeah.
happily.
Yeah.
This is huge in the industry. This is
It's
part of the
massive.
revolution that, that Mo and I want to create, is that
Yeah.
we are really creating a stability for it.
Mhm.
And so that would be a wonderful reason to join BU, the inner circle, is to just stay in your job and be happier.
Be happier. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because there is, I've been married now 11 years. And I used to say I've had cats longer than I had husbands, but this one seems to be really sticking. So there's maintenance, when you stay in a relationship longer term, right? I mean, I was with Kathy Anderson for 6 years, and the only reason I left is that I had this idea for my business. And she said, yes, you should go do that. People need you, right? And you were with Jesse for 8 years. And so and then you had the idea, right, to move on, but to have that kind of stability is really quite priceless. And to be valued, right? Because I too, Kathy invested in me. She always respected me, asked my opinion, brought me to the, superstar retreat in Las Vegas, and so I got to see and be developed. And that was part of the reason that I stayed.
Oh yeah. And when you think about the turnover rate and the costs of when you lose an employee, and then when you have to bring someone new on, the time that you spend in recruiting and interviewing and hiring and training, I would much rather pour my money into maintaining and building on a partnership than constantly having to look for someone. The energy and the money that it takes is huge. And so,
and
yeah,
the opportunity cost, because once again, the opportunity cost of that kind of turn is exceptional. And so we have created something that is a fraction of that with a much higher payoff.
Yeah. When I think about the information that's stored in all of these admins' brains, I know for me with Jesse was always like, oh God, it's like everything's in my head. And when you finally get it there, you want to really utilize that. And because I always say it took me about 2 years to get to know the business before I started to implement any changes. And then when I think I really began to become valuable was around year 3 and 4, because then I had enough knowledge about the business, enough knowledge about Jesse's expectations that I could combine the two, take initiative, and begin to create new avenues of business for Pickett Street. And that's invaluable. So yeah, I think
in the first 2 years, right? You're just, it's not there yet.
Bringing it all in.
Working on it.
Yeah. What is a listing packet? Why is it called a seller's agent? Like, what is all of those terms? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With the contingency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get past all that.
Right. I checked to see if we have any other questions, but it looks like we're good for now. So I think we can close out and just say to people, if you guys have any follow-up questions, if you're watching this at a later time, don't hesitate to put them in the comments and just tag Kathleen or I, or personal message us. And just know that, let's see, today's Friday. So our enrollment starts on Monday and it'll be open for 7 days. Super exciting. And we're only doing 7 days because, again, like we talked about earlier, we want people who want in and have some skin in the game. And we want to, like I think Maggie referenced as well, really build relationships within this core group of people. And so we're not doing, we're not just leaving it open all year round. We're doing this launch right now. And so if you want in and you want to try this, just jump in with us and let's have some fun.
Join us. Be
Yeah.
you.